suggestions, Nyla. Morning. Hit of the year. It created a big star. She's known as White Dee. She does actually have the name Deirdre Kelly, but everyone knows her as White Dee, and she's on board the LBC General Election Battle Bus here in Corporation Street. Welcome aboard.
Welcome to Birmingham.
How much does politics engage? Not so much with you, because you are putting a career together now as a personality, so you probably do relate to the newspaper, because you never know if you're going to be asked a question in a studio. But go back to James Turner Street, isn't it?
It is.
The residents of James Turner Street, in all honesty, Dee, can I call you Dee, or do you prefer Dee?
No, you can call me Dee, that's
How
fine.
much do they relate to these promises from these prime ministers and leaders of the opposition and all the other
Believe it or not, we actually relate to them a lot, and this is what I was saying. We were just members of a street in Birmingham, and we did used to sit down, and obviously, like everyone, you'd have a moan about someone's about the bedroom tax and various different things. So as a group, we were interested, and we all went to vote.
You did. I was just going to say, let's say there were 100 of you. How many of those 100 would you say would actually cast their vote?
I'd probably say about 75% that I probably know of, because it's something that we were interested in. It's something that did affect us in our everyday lives. It did affect those with children. It did affect the single people who were put into a 2-bedroom home by no choice of their own, and were then actually being made to pay bedroom tax and left in debt. And so as a group, we it was something that we were interested in. We just used to go down in one sort of gang kind of say, and go and put our cross in a box. And of course it matters. We were people on a street in Birmingham, and yes, we did vote because we were interested in were bothered about where we lived.
One issue that might drive that vote, would you say, Dee, would it be the economy? Would it be employment? Would it be immigration? Would it be NHS? Would it be education? Would it be defence? Law and order? What if there was one thing you thought that might actually, as the folk from that street actually put their X in the box, what might it be?
Believe it or not, it's like, there was a high number of retired people on James Turner Street, and a lot of the younger people, and the kids always used to look out, help them with their shopping, make sure they were all right. So to us, it was kind of, more like making sure the pensioners were untouched, and making sure, they've lived their life, they've worked their work, and, let them sort of retire, in comfort.
It's quite a diverse street, as I recall. I'm not going to pretend I watched every episode. I didn't. I thought it was a great piece of TV. It may be a little exploitative, but it was a clever show, if you'll allow me to say.
Very clever show.
It's so quite a diverse area. Is there a sense that there are too many people coming to this country on James Turner Street, or would they be saying, no, Nigel Farage is wrong, let them come?
Do you know, hand on heart, it never really bothered us on James Turner Street. It's like, we got to know everybody as individuals. Everyone's children played together, all the adults spoke together, and we didn't really see, immigrants, see people being classed as immigrants on James Turner Street. Once they moved on there, they were part of our community. But you can kind of see it's sort of, you do have to draw the line somewhere, I suppose. And maybe, it's... and that's why I'm kind of interested in, like a lot of people are complaining about when people move over to Great Britain that they are allowed to claim straight away. Whereas if, like, even though I'm of Irish descent, if I was to move to Ireland, because I've never actually worked there, I wouldn't be entitled to anything as part of their welfare system. I think they do have to, maybe enforce restrictions on people who are coming over into the country.
How do you think, we come back to that TV show, it's fair to say, I think, Dee, that in a way many people see it as the worst example of how Britain has become. People living on Benefit Street, not doing any work, scrounging, whatever it takes to get by. What did it do for the people, and how fair a representation was it?
Hand on heart, it actually demoralised everybody, because how are people on benefits scrounging? They're not scrounging anything. They're claiming what the government says they're entitled to.
Some
that
of them
is
have
not
never
scrounging.
paid in, some would argue, Dee.
And
I know you don't set the policy, but...
I think you'd be shocked at, there's probably a very, very few who've never paid in. But then again, it's about, surely there's, there should be stricter systems to get them out of, procedures to get them out of the situation they're in. It's like, I've said, it's pointless going to see your lone parent advisor and your lone parent advisor saying, well, in reality, you don't officially have to work until your youngest child's 5, so I'll see you in 6 months. It's about finding that balance. You have got the people who do want to work, but you also need to find the people who are there willing to try and help them.
You've come away from James Turner Street. You don't live there anymore?
I've still got my nephew's there now. It's like, because...
When you go back to see your nephew, are you how welcomed are you?
Do you know, it's one of them, it's like a completely different area. It's sort
I'm
of,
going up there later today, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what am I going to see? What am I going to find?
You'll probably see, it's just so quiet. It's just, it's like, and that's what I'm saying. It's very
wanted
quiet.
to go up there and there'd be race riots. That's what I want. That's what I'm going up there for.
No, not at all. People have moved away. There's still people there. It's like, my daughter, she still goes there 2-3 times a week.
Are you welcomed there? Because there was a story that...
something. It's one of them, isn't it? It's like...
Because you've made something of yourself.
Well,
you have. I mean, credit to you. You saw an opportunity and you went for it. There's nothing wrong. There's
well, no,
nothing
because
wrong
it's up
with
to
it.
me. At the end
brilliant.
of the day, it's up to me to provide for my children.
I heard or read that there was a degree of resentment from some.
Oh, completely. There's there was a degree of resentment, but when I say a degree of resentment, I'm only talking like a handful of people. And it's the same as a lot of people still understand that I'm still the same person as I was when I was living on James Turner Street, and that won't change. My children are still the same. I've still got the same friends. They still go to the same school. And if it makes me a bad person by trying to better myself and pulling myself out of the system and trying to help others, then
what's planned? What's next on the stocks for?
Well, obviously, what's next?
Is it right? You're making a movie or in a movie?
I have filmed a part in a movie.
Can you tell me about it?
I can. It's about Richard Billingham, he's actually a photographer from the West Midlands.
Right.
And I play his mum.
Right, very good.
No younger roles for me now anymore, but that was
so you're
very
not
challenging.
The next Bond girl, this rumour that's going...
Well, I don't know. I'm sort of, but this body's a work in progress, so I very well might be. I think they should have a few older Bond girls, actually.
And why not? OK, let's come to the politics lastly. There are 3 main leaders. And there's a game which all girls play called Snog, Marry, Avoid.
Yeah.
David Cameron, Ed Miliband, Nick Clegg, Snog, Marry, Avoid. You know where I'm going with this, White Dee.
I do. I think
Snog.
I'd have to... Do you know, it'd probably have to be Nick Clegg.
Snog.
But that's after a few pints and a kebab.
What, for him or for
no,
both?
No, for me. Well, probably for both of us, actually. He'd probably
So
need a couple of bottles of whiskey.
We're snogging Nick Clegg. Who are we avoiding?
So. I'd have to avoid Ed Miliband. Just
So
Yeah,
you realise who you're
I
getting
think
wed
I
to.
think I'd actually give Usain Bolt a run for his money if, yeah. And I think I'd have to marry Mr. Cameron.
Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of got that marrying look. Well, he's married, isn't he?
Currently.
But yeah, watch out, Samantha. No,
So from that, can we deduce that White Dee's vote is
no
probably
you can't.
going blue?
No, not at all. And
You don't have to answer, but I'm going to ask.
I think this is the one year that I can honestly, hand on heart, say I am so stuck as to who to vote for.
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean I've got this piece of paper at home, and I've got like the 4s for the Conservatives and the 4s for the Labour, because I do, hand on heart, think it is going to be between one of them two parties, to be fair. And believe it or not,
Go on.
I've actually got one more on my list for Labour.
Go on, there's no one listening, just you and me. Tell me, go on. What's
Yeah.
the tick? What's the extra tick that Labour's got then? What's just doing it for them at the moment? Would you say?
I think they're being a bit more realistic about their funding towards the NHS, but I just wouldn't trust Ed Miliband as far as I could throw him, to be fair.
No, you're trying to avoid him.
I am.
And do you still talk with Black Dee?
No,
What
she's
went wrong
one.
there?
I really don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's like I saw her, I not took her in, but obviously I classed her as one of my own, and
Yeah.
but something
Things
happens. I was
Right.
about to swear, but
No, that
No, I
happens.
wasn't about to
No,
swear.
all right.
that
Should
thing
we-
happens.
Should we get out of
and-
it now before
yeah,
you swear?
I think
then
we
That's
shall.
probably a good
No, I
idea
won't
because the law
swear.
courts are out there.
Yeah,
we
I
don't
know.
need. Oh, you I bet
Might
you
nip
do.
in and
You can
just
see
read
some of
the
your old mates. They'll probably be there at 10 o'clock. Now, why would I say that?
I
Great.
do not
Coming
know.
on, Dee, great to see you again.
And
Look
you
after yourself,
too.
dear. Thank you very
Take
much
care.
indeed. White Dee, everybody appearing here on the LBC election battle bus in Birmingham. And of course, to remind you, we're in Birmingham. Coming up after the news, we take to the high seas.